So next up, podcast listeners, we have a really interesting story, and that is the former Twitter executive who was the head of trust and safety. Imagine you're in a social media company, or that you are a media company, like you produce a newspaper, an online newspaper, or an online magazine, and you have an executive whose job it is and title is head of trust and safety. Well, the former Twitter trust and safety head defends his decision to ban the Babylon Bee. So, guys, look, this is really funny. We have a clip. Okay, I'll play the clip in a minute, but I have to set this up. Imagine the Babylon Bee is a satire site, a site based on satire. In other words, humor. They make fun of the right and they make fun of the left, and it's all in a funny way. And the idea is for you to laugh at yourself. And this guy, Yoel Roth, the former head of Twitter's trust and safety department, said last week that he defended Twitter's controversial banning of the Babylon Bee earlier in 2022 for misgendering the Assistant Secretary of Health, Rachel Levine, a biological male who identifies as a female. So in other words, because the Babylon Bee wrote a satirical piece on this guy who dresses like a woman, who happens to be in a position of authority as the Assistant Secretary of Health. Yeah, I still find it so funny because, it's like, why don't we put him in Assistant Secretary of Mental Health? That would be even make more sense. But this executive, Yoel Roth, I digress. Yoel Roth basically says that he made the right decision to ban Babylon Bee. In other words, he didn't take down the article that Babylon Bee wrote that was a comedic article about Rachel Levine. No, he took down Babylon Bee, the entire site, off of Twitter. So he was interviewed, and we have the clip where he talks about this. You cannot believe it. Listen, here it is.
Okay, Babylon Bee, which is what got him to buy the thing, I think.
That's the
one which was not particularly funny. The Babylon Bee's Man of the Year is Rachel Levine. Not funny.
Yeah, and you can ask.
I didn't agree they should have taken that down, but go ahead.
It's interesting. It's interesting to think about what the competing tensions around that are, and I want to start by acknowledging that the targeting and the victimization of the trans community on Twitter is very real, very life-threatening, and extraordinarily serious. We have seen from a number of Twitter accounts, including libs of TikTok notably, that there are orchestrated campaigns that particularly are singling out a group that is already particularly vulnerable within society. And so, yeah, not only is it not funny, but it is dangerous, and it does contribute to an environment that makes people unsafe in the world. So let's start from a premise that it's fucked up. But then, again, let's look at what Twitter's written policies are. Twitter's written policies prohibit misgendering, full stop. And the Babylon Bee, in the name of satire, misgendered Admiral Rachel Levine. Twitter,
satire.
Nominally, but it's still misgendering.
Okay.
And, there can be a very long and academic discussion of satire and sort of the lines there. Interestingly, Apple tried to tease out this question of satire and political commentary in their own guidelines, which I think are also fraught. But, we landed on the side of enforcing our rules as written.
And that's how it got bought by Elon Musk, just in case you're interested. He was mad about that. I remember that.
Right. That was Kara Swisher. She was the podcaster. Okay, the lady. She was interviewing Roth. And Yoel Roth, of course, who was the head of trust and safety at Twitter before he was summarily let go because Elon Musk took over the company. And Kara Swisher says, well, the whole reason why Musk bought Twitter is because you, Yoel Roth, took down the Babylon Bee. the satire site off of Twitter. That's why Musk bought it. And these people have like no sense of humor. They're so righteous. They have no sense of humor whatsoever because, look, ladies and gentlemen, it is funny what Babylon Bee did. They said that the man of the year is Rachel Levine, right? Because Rachel Levine is a man. Rachel Levine is not a woman. Rachel Levine dresses as a woman and identifies as a woman. And Rachel Levine has every right to do that in a free society, by the way. But the idea that the everyday American has to buy into this idea that we have to call Dr. Levine a woman, I'm sorry. Look, as long as you're respectful, okay, which I think is, but you should also laugh too. And by respectful, I mean, this is not a woman. This is a man. This man is dressed as a woman. Why can't we talk about the truth? Okay? Why can't we just speak truthfully about this? But according to Yoel Roth at Twitter, this is considered misgendering. What I just said would be misgendering. In other words, under Twitter 1.0, had I said that on Twitter, I would have been banned from Twitter. Had I said that as an employee of Twitter, I probably would have been fired from Twitter. Namely, if I said something simple like this. Well, you know, Dr. Rachel Levine is actually a man, a biological man, who is dressing as a woman. I can guarantee you that that would be considered misgendering, according to Yoel Roth. And had he known about it, he would have told HR at Twitter, and HR would have fired you just for saying that. This is ridiculous. This is ridiculous where corporate America is today. And not just corporate America, but of course the media. And then you have the podcaster, Kara Swisher, basically saying, well, I don't think that was funny. That wasn't funny. It wasn't funny when Babylon Bee said that was the man of the year. I mean, it's ridiculous that these people can't laugh at satire, right? That actually is funny because it's a sign of the times and a sign of how we're getting dumber in the United States. We're getting dumber by the day. So the reason we're reading this to you, the reason why we're talking about this latest update about Twitter is because Yoel Roth, this incredibly effeminate man who gets on this podcast, still is maintaining that he had the right, and we collectively as a society have the right to ban people from social media for telling jokes, for joking, for engaging in comedy, for having an opinion. That there are speech codes, and the speech codes are only the speech codes as defined by Yoel Roth, and those speech codes must be followed, or you could lose your job, or you could lose your presence on social media just by misgendering somebody. I mean, Chris, help me out here. What am I missing? Like, I feel like this is a complete and utter fabrication of the millennial generation. You know, it's like, oh, you know, it's like speech codes, misgendering, you know, it's like, no. If I met Dr. Rachel Levine, right? Here's what I would say. I would say, hi, Dr. Levine. It's nice to meet you. Okay. Because it's a doctor, right?
Yeah, sure.
Fair enough, right? That's respectful. But in the same sense, if I'm not allowed to laugh at the Babylon Bee title, this is the man of the year. What really? Government and Twitter have conspired together and they're telling me I can't have a sense of humor? This is where we are. This is where we are. And so the Twitter revelations and transparency has really just started. And Elon Musk has just released a statement saying, yes, I'm going to release much more information because unless we come clean on everything that has happened in the past, we cannot be trusted moving forward. So in the Daily Caller, ladies and gentlemen, Nicholas Sandmann says he wonders if Elon Musk has any Twitter files on all of the death threats that he received. So former Covington Catholic high school student Nicholas Sandmann told Elon Musk on Sunday that he wonders if Twitter has any hidden files related to the death threats made against him and his classmates. Quote, as I'm watching this all play out, I'm wondering if Elon Musk has any hidden Twitter files relating to what went on here, Sandmann tweeted to the owner of Twitter. Let's be clear, under the watch of Vijaya, at Vijaya, which was, of course, one of the censors at Twitter that's no longer there, they allowed these illegal threats when I was 16 years old. So the threats, ladies and gentlemen, are as follows. Quote, and these were tweeted threats, okay? Lock the kids in the school and burn that bitch to the ground, one tweet by user at Houseshoe said. Another, by the same account, said, fire on any of these red hat bitches when you see them on site. These are children, by the way, that they are referring to, this red shoes or house shoes person said. Another account tweeted, hashtag MAGA kids, go screaming, hats first, into the wood chipper. Musk released internal emails to journalist Matt Taibbi documenting how the company censored the New York Post's Hunter laptop story. So this was Nicholas Sandmann, of course, because as you recall, ladies and gentlemen, Nicholas Sandmann was the gentleman who was on the mall of the Capitol with the Covington Catholic high school students. These are all minors. This was a number of years ago. And all they were doing was doing a visit. They were visiting Washington, D.C. They were tourists with their Catholic high school. And then he was randomly, at least it appears randomly, approached by a Native American who I guess was, what was happening there again? He was
kind of just talking at, like, Nick Sandmann didn't do anything.
Yeah, he was just standing there watching this gentleman. This gentleman was engaging in like Native American ceremonial stuff or
something like that. But Sandmann was just smiling. And
he was smiling, but he wasn't saying anything and he wasn't being disrespectful.
And they said he was mocking him or something.
And so why does this matter? It matters because Sandmann's like, hey, look, I was 16 years old when this happened, and Twitter lit up with people who are not just criticizing me, but threatening me, like threatening to kill me and encouraging others to threaten to kill me. And yet, where were the censors under Twitter 1.0? Where were they then? And ladies and gentlemen, this is why Yo Roth and Vijaya, why these two individuals, who of course are no longer at Twitter, but this is why these two individuals are so insincere. Because when they talk about Twitter 1.0 and how they censored people, they're so virtuous. They're so superior to you. They're so important. You're such a nothing. And they're worried about misgendering because it's dangerous. And then at the same time, a minor is threatened. And people are literally encouraging others to hurt the minor and kill he and his classmates. And Twitter left all of those tweets up, ladies and gentlemen. And so we can only hope that moving forward, we actually have Twitter 2.0, which just lets it go. By that, I mean, let the conversation go. Let it continue. Let the thread go. Let people say what they want to say. And obviously, we know that there are exceptions. You can't encourage people to kill someone or to hurt someone. Obviously, I think that makes sense to take that kind of thing down. I think we would all agree. But humor? So also breaking, former Twitter censor criticizes Elon Musk for exposing him in the Hunter Biden files. So Yo Roth, whom we just spoke about, he was the former head of trust and safety for Twitter, has expressed his displeasure on a new social media platform called Mastodon, which I haven't heard of, after Elon Musk released the bombshell evidence about Twitter's censorship of the Hunter Biden laptop scandal, according to the Post-Millennial. The so-called Hunter Biden files were released by Musk and published by Matt Taibbi on Twitter that, among other things, revealed that Roth participated in censoring the Hunter Biden laptop story by the New York Post, publicly posting the names, and this is Yo Roth saying this, you'll love it, quote, publicly posting the names and identities of frontline Twitter employees involved in content moderation puts them in harm's way, and it is a fundamentally unacceptable thing to do, Yo Roth posted on Mastodon. This is interesting, right? Talk about things coming full circle. So here's a guy that allows Nicholas Sandmann to be threatened on Twitter, doesn't take it down, takes down the Hunter Biden laptop story, which threatens the United States of America by the Biden crime family because information wasn't readily available to the voters to make a transparent and honest decision about who to vote for. And now this guy, Yo Roth, is saying, well, yeah, that may be true that I did all of those things, but you shouldn't tell people who I am because it puts me in harm's way. How so? I know of no one, and I would also encourage no one, to ever say that this Yo Roth guy should in any way, shape, or form, engage to have someone hurt him. Of course, that would be, that doesn't make any sense. But he's worried about getting hurt, probably because he's so daggone, unintelligent and at the same time dishonest. What he should be more concerned about is not that. What he should be concerned about is, being sued and or maybe going to jail. I'm not sure what the crime would be, actually, because I guess he can hide behind the Twitter policies. The policies were really good policies because, we were just following company policy, and the company policy was stated that we get to interpret what is good and what is bad. But think about this. Yo Roth saying that the content moderation disclosures by Elon Musk are putting him in harm's way, that somehow that is scary for him. Folks, this is when you know that when you put the left in the limelight and you shine the light on what they are doing, that they can't take the heat. They cannot take the heat. They can only be manipulative, and they can only create chaos in darkness. As soon as you expose them to light, they're terrified and they run away as fast as they possibly can. And that really is the takeaway from this latest Yo Roth disclosure on Twitter. He's incapable of laughing at the Babylon Bee. They have to be banned. And incapable of taking down tweets that threaten Nicholas Sandmann, but perfectly capable of taking down tweets about stories relating to the Biden crime family's involvement in the Ukraine prior to Joe Biden becoming president of the United States, and in China through Hunter Biden's various business dealings. Pretty extraordinary. Now we have the same guy, Yo Roth, saying, well, he's in danger now because we're actually finding out what the actual truth was on Twitter through Elon Musk. Absolute nonsense. Freedom of speech, transparency is always a good thing. If you can't take it, then you ought not be involved in trying to censor people to begin with. And that's the last word from Mark and the Millennials. Thank you for joining Mark and the Millennials. This is Mark Fisher. Thank you to our producer, Christopher Hopkins. Check us out on iTunes, Spotify, Twitter 2.0, YouTube, Facebook, Getter, True Social, Rumble, and our website. See you next time.